Okay, welcome to HQLA episode 32. Here we are interviewing Sergiu Matei. Sergio is a multi-time founder. He's an angel investor. He's a business runner. He's currently running Index.dev. And we're going to have a look at a few of the different exciting projects he's involved in, as well as that. Welcome to our interview with Sergio.
Thank you so much for joining us, Sergio. Seriously, really appreciate it. I know you're busy. We looked at your LinkedIn. It is full for sure. And so I'm sure you've got plenty of things to do. And so we honestly really appreciate one of those things being talking to us.
My pleasure. Great speaking with you.
Okay, great. So if you don't mind, I was doing a little bit of background research and I noticed a few little interesting highlights. If we could maybe chat about them, you could give us some reflections on your experience. The first one was, it looked to me like, maybe just taking it right back to the very start, the first job you ever had was at Hertz. Is that true? At the car rental company?
Yes.
That's a big company.
I created a website for Moldavian. I'm Moldavian. I was born in Moldova. And at that time, I created a website for Hertz.md. That's the domain name for Moldova. So that was long, 20 years ago, a long time.
20 years, that's wild. And maybe before that, what was your experience? Like, did you do some study leading up to that point? What was your experience before that?
I was good at math, and then I was lucky. I had a good informatics teacher. I played with at that time, I think it was Flash, HTML, sort of creating websites. It was back in, I think, 2005 or something.
Yeah, wow.
And actually, a friend of mine worked for this company, and then they were looking to develop a website, and there was nothing there. I mean, you hardly could find somebody to build a website at that time, and I was, I kind of taught myself to do it, and I made my first real work through this. Yeah,
that's crazy. Isaac and I, a while ago, spoke to a guy based in Melbourne, actually, named Matt Allen. And there's no expectation you would know him, but he is kind of like a venture capitalist here in Melbourne. And he has a development background, which is really similar to yours, which is so cool, which was basically he saw a need, which was someone just needed to create a website. And I think probably a pretty similar period of time to you, where people realized they needed web exposure, but they didn't really know how to do that and what that meant. And similar to you, just kind of jumped in, learned it. And so that's really interesting to see people like yourself who've really gone on to be very successful in business and tech, and not necessarily maybe having like a classical background in that area. I think is very empowering for people who are interested in that field. Maybe the next thing, if you don't mind, is the first company that you started. So this is, you were saying 2004, 2005. So this is maybe like 5 years later from that time, Travod. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correct. From my interpretation of it, looks like it's still live. It's still operating. I'm assuming maybe under a different ownership now. It looks to me like when you first initiated, at least, it helped businesses go global. Is that an accurate description? Could you tell us a bit more about that?
At that time, I started it with, we were 3 co-founders, and I joined the team. My co-founder started the company initially, and then asked me to join and to scale, to grow the business. We created Travod at that time. It was 2010, and became top, I think we're right now top 20 in the UK, and globally we're top 100. There is a rating in terms of revenue, in terms of sort of customers in the world of this. There are thousands of translation companies, but we're top 100 right now in the world. I'm involved on the board of the business. It was my first company, my real business, and we managed to build this network of translators. Like, we have thousands of translators in country around the world, and then we help businesses translate content by involving those translators in website translation, might be book translation, manuals, a lot of text, subtitling for movies, even transcription at sometimes.
That's so interesting. And you can, it's not hard to see a bit of a link between that concept and the concept that you're working on now, which maybe at its core is gathering people with certain skills who can't find the work, finding the people who need the work done, and linking the two, which we'll get onto a little bit later. But that's very interesting that you kind of picked up on that, almost a niche that applies in different contexts, which is really interesting. Maybe a question, generally speaking. So up until this point, you've been good at math. You seem to find a bit of a interest in programming and developing websites. You've done that for Hertz and maybe a few other projects, I'm assuming, up until that point. But what was the switch to you to like take the leap and do something for yourself? Because there's a lot of people out there who are great at developing. There's a lot of people out there who have all those skills, but they don't have like the grit or the the energy to go out and do something for themselves. So what made you like make that decision?
Yeah, that's a great question. I worked for some time for a company, and it was a great experience. It was great team. I learned a lot, but I didn't like it. I just wanted to be, this freedom, sort of male kind of energy that we're always sick, like of freedom. And entrepreneurship provides that. And I think that was the one of the value I was looking for. Yeah, I think I always loved this journey of building something from nothing, or scaling, engaging people, building teams. And unfortunately, when you go into kind of sort of career and as an employee, not all the companies provide that. So I guess I applied even for Google and some of those companies. They didn't hire me. So I guess that was a little bit of luck as well.
I think there often is.
Yeah.
That's super interesting. And I think probably quite inspiring for people who are maybe considering the same thing. Maybe they've been in a job for a while and they're noticing the same desire inside themselves for a bit of freedom. And so maybe this is empowering and maybe someone will start, the next big thing. So moving on a little bit. So you talked about founding this business with two other co-founders. Maybe there might have been a bit of an exit there at some point. And it looked like you spent a bit of time working as a mentor in accelerators, a little bit of angel investing and stuff like that. In that period of time, is there anything that kind of stands out as a highlight to you?
Yeah, I think being a mentor is always a great opportunity to give back or help other founders, but also learn from other founders. When you do angel investing, you invest in different industries, different companies, and you learn a lot from the founder. And sometimes you being alone as a founder is a very tough job in itself, and then connecting and building the community of our founders. I think that's the hack to kind of fight that loneliness and that challenge, and also learn from our founders. I think that's a good thing to do. When I was living in San Francisco at that time, I was mentoring this leading B2B accelerator, because my whole background is B2B. I'm just focused on serving other businesses rather than B2C business consumers. And as you mentioned, I also learn to build on my expertise or over the years, my learnings. I try to capitalize on those. So Index itself, my current company, was because of those intersection on those things. Like I learned how to build international kind of companies, connecting freelancers with in translation with companies, B2B, then this website software development, connecting that, and then also living in San Francisco and seeing how much it costs to hire an engineer, what are the challenges of companies hiring remotely. I said, okay, maybe I could do something about it. At that time, I was helping a couple of friends, connecting them from Eastern Europe with companies looking to find engineers in Eastern Europe. And then I said, maybe I can do a business and scale that and provide it to thousands of people. And that's how Index started.
Yeah, that's a really good approach, I think, to initially networking and finding that kind of ring of founders that you could be around, so that, you know, you're not like the lonely founder that's just trying to figure it out on your own. You've actually got someone there to help out. And I think it's really cool that you can also kind of start to solve that problem by saying, oh, I actually know a bunch of people in 2 different countries here. Let me bridge that gap for these friends that I'm making, and then kind of monetize that into an actual business. The moving on to something a little bit more topical, one of the things that I've seen recently is CompTIA's Tech Jobs report, recently posting that there were 316,000 job postings for tech positions in March this year. I've seen that April's maintained a similar level for tech. Do you think we're past the point earlier in the year where it seemed like every tech giant was cutting tens of thousands, 40,000, 50,000 jobs at a time? And where do you think the jobs are actually coming from and flowing to in these new this new environment that we're sort of moving through?
So a couple of things. So if you look to those layoffs that happened in the last 6 months, majority are not tech roles. Majority are recruiting, might be marketing or sales. Companies are always hiring engineering talent, and that's their core. The tech companies are looking into substituting current roles, growing their tech teams, and really accelerating their product. And in now it's tech winter, and maybe things are slowing down, but still in this time to invest in product. That's counterintuitive. I mean, you would think maybe investing in sales or marketing, which is also a strategy to go more offense, but the smart thing to do is to invest in product, because a great product always wins, and it's just finding ways to provide value for customers through the product development. So what we see right now currently, the last 3 months were really slow, and now demand is picking up, especially in the US, actually. Europe is still kind of in this recession. I don't think what the future lies, but it seems to me this year will be a bit bumpy, ups and downs, and you would see again maybe layoffs, again maybe some bank going under. You never know, but perhaps next year, I think overall we should see a better sentiment and a better outcome for the economy around the world, hopefully. So, because no recession lasted more than 24 months or more or less, but perhaps you could say we are in a recession, or maybe will be. So nobody kind of estimates, but the overall sentiment in this year or last year as well was negative, with war, with layoffs, banks and stuff. So it seems to me there are another kind of maybe year to go. We never know, but right now we are, let's say, seeing a bit of uptake in the demand, and more roles are getting into the market, specifically AI, machine learning, all of this around ChatGPT. And it's like a party in one part of the city, ChatGPT, and there is sorrow and sadness in any other industries.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's such a great way to put it, because it's almost like when we had everyone was building a Web3 startup a year ago or 2 years ago. Everyone was building a crypto coin, and then they were building a Web3, and then they were, all these random new founders that had an NFT project, but they didn't really have a viable business behind that. So that was really interesting. And so obviously artificial intelligence is the latest hot topic at the moment. We were actually talking about the Auto GPT and the role in taking over not only admin jobs but dev jobs in our previous episode. So that was very topical, and sort of, baby AGIs and auto GPTs and what these kind of projects on GitHub are sort of showing. There was a report recently that you tweeted that over 25% of current work tasks could kind of be automated with AI in sort of the next 10 years. So I have a two-part question. Do you actually think that AI can write that code effectively? And do you think this is better or worse for these high-level knowledge workers?
Overall, I think it's, let me start with the second one. I think it's better. For example, I saw in translation and you have for years machine translation in translation space, and it didn't displace translators. As a matter of fact, it grew the amount of work to be done. So I'm more optimistic on the first question. I think it won't displace engineers. I think it'll just help us as a humanity, as the world, to solve more problems through technology. So I think you would see just faster things to be done in engineering. It's very helpful today, what we see for mostly junior developers to use ChatGPT. Maybe not so for more seniors, but it still helps a lot into, automating testing, or maybe writing those parts of code or testing or playing with it in the beginning. So I think for now it's very positive. It will increase productivity. We could do more with less, but I don't see it displacing engineers. It maybe, I again never know what the future lies, but maybe in 5-10 years that happens. If that is to happen, I think then it just displaces a lot of jobs, not just engineering. I mean, you could argue if it translates, if it understands language, if it displaces programming, and a job as an entrepreneur may be also displaced. I don't know. It does podcasts. You don't need interviewers or
that's right.
Anyway,
absolutely.
Right.
I know. We'll just relax on the beach and do nothing, I guess. But
well, that's right. I don't know what the solution is, but it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I always tell Nathan I can easily replace him with an AI voice. So that's our
story of my life. Are you struggling to get your name out there? Do you want to attract more customers? Maybe just increase your revenue? Well, look no further than Newnique. They're an all-in-one marketing agency, and they'll help take your business to the next level. They believe in marketing that should be both effective and enjoyable, and I tend to agree. So they offer a range of services such as web design, branding, social media management, and lead generation. The team of experts, they'll work with you to develop a tailored marketing strategy that fits the unique needs of your business. And they don't just stop at making you look good, but they're specialized in setting up lead generating machines. Their top secret methods will help you capture and convert your leads, leading to increased sales and revenue for your unique business. So search NEW NIQ UE on Google to learn more and schedule a free marketing consultation via their website. So let Newnique take your business to the next level.
Index is a tech-focused recruitment platform passionate about scaling your engineering team, maintaining 95% placement success. To date, they've vetted over 8,000 developers, boasting on average more than 7 years experience across their recruits. Index supplies talent to industry-leading clients such as Omio, a German unicorn that's raised almost $500 million USD, PERFORCE, a US-based leading DevOps solutions provider with over $300 million USD in annual revenue, and many others, some of which are backed by firms such as Goldman Sachs and Y Combinator. So if you're struggling to find the right talent, concerned about high employee costs and staff turnover, Index has the solution for you. Through comprehensive assessments, in-depth interviews, and a robust vetting process, Index can provide your business with the very best international tech talent in less than 7 business days. For contracts greater than 6 months, Index is offering a 10% discount to HQLA fans the next time you hire using their platform. So moving back more towards that was really interesting about AI, because I often think about how there used to be this concept of the 10x developer, where this one developer in your team that was actually really good could actually produce more than 10 times what the rest of, these sort of junior developers or these developers that are a bit more lazy and that kind of thing. That there are these 10x's that join your team and you can actually kind of make this super productive pod. And now it's almost like you're creating a 10x developer out of a general developer by adding AI. So it's good to kind of look at the positive benefit of the learning that can kind of come out of it and the automation there. That's really good. So if we move more towards your Index.dev, we're interested in sort of the main problem that the company tries to solve, because I think companies don't just go, oh, we need an Eastern European developer. We need a developer from Latin America. I think that they would probably be thinking, wow, it costs $250K because I have to compete with Google in the Silicon Valley area, and so what was that the kind of the thought behind how you were starting the business, and what were kind of the foundations and the founding?
So there are a couple of things. So shortage of great 10x engineers. It's always not enough. I mean, for what we can build and what the companies are raising money for, or bootstrapping and developing their tech products. So shortage of great tech talent. Number two is the price arbitrage. I mean, what you have locally in San Francisco, London, New York, or other places is just too much compared to how much you'll pay for somebody in Colombia or in Moldova or in those countries. And then the third one is for engineers have this flexibility of the job, working remotely, working for a global startup, for also vetted company. So we vet engineering talent, but also we vet the startup or the company itself. So there's vetting on both sides to make the perfect match. So I think for the supply side, also we see a lot of trends of people going to work remotely. People love to work as contractors for the startups, rather than working locally and maybe being paid less, maybe not an interesting product to work on. And overall, as a business, I think what is good about it is we create less this congestion of people in one location. Like when you have a lot of talent concentration, it has its own advantages. You could argue it's more creativity. You have this sort of in-person connection, communication, but that's also traffic, prices for houses. So a lot of maybe downsides. So when you combine with remote work, you can have both. You can have people in office or occasionally meet at some point, but then they're free to work from other locations. We're just having a more distributed world. So I think what blockchain does for money is what we or other companies in the space are doing for talent, creating a more equal,
decentralized,
more kind of distributed world rather than location-based hiring.
That's a really good analogy because you can sort of consider it like one of the things that, say, blockchain allowed people to do was maybe they could pull together their funding into a DAO, and they could invest in assets that they never would be able to invest in before. And without getting like laboring on that point, that's similar to what you're doing, where it's like you're taking people who in different corners of the world who would never be able to be a part of something like Google or something like, or anything, even like a cool small startup in San Francisco. It doesn't have to be Google. And they would never be able to get exposure to that because they just simply can't move there. They can't get a visa. They can't do any of these things. And yet you're providing them, as you say, you're decentralizing their ability to access that. And so I think that's really great. It's a great analogy. It's really true. So I think the question then, just for our listeners to really distinguish exactly what makes your business really distinct is, so obviously someone might say, well, okay, a company can jump on Fiverr and find a developer. That's possible. That is a solution. So I think obviously my read on it's quite obvious for us, but let's talk about it. The obvious thing is the vetting process, which you referred to there. In my opinion, from what I can tell, this is the thing that sort of really adds a lot of value to what you do as a platform. Could we talk a little bit about what that process looks like, whether that's changed from inception to now? Maybe you've learned things throughout the process. That'd be awesome to talk about.
Yes, definitely. A lot of things change over the years. We're year 4 right now for the company. And we, in the pandemic, we just grew 10x. It was a big demand pool for us. At the same time, what helped sort of fuel that growth was the how good the engineer is. I mean, at the end of the day, the companies choose us because they like the talent. The talent stays longer. We have an amazing retention rate of the talent because also we've had the company. So, as I said, the talent also matches with the right company. And in terms of vetting the developer, there are a couple of stages. So one, we do a live interview where we check their background, we check their motivation, their cultural fit, their English. So there are a lot of layers to vet someone, background checks as well, just to make sure they're who they are and there is no some weird thing happening. And then we do testing. We do technical testing, depending on the customer tests. If the client has a technical test, or if there is a requirement to do more testing on the developer. So then you look to public profiles. You try to check their reviews on our website, like maybe Git or maybe other websites. So there is a lot of sort of deep profile analysis that we're building, and also building those profiles on the platform takes time. And right now we have about 7,000 vetted engineers. So that provides the depth and the skill set that the companies are looking for. And then because we test their motivation, their availability, we are matching them within days rather than months with the right company. So yeah, I guess those are the kind of marketplace, like Fiverr, for example, is a general marketplace, let's call it 2.0, where what we're building is more like managed marketplace, which is the next kind of type of marketplaces where you hire full-time, where you streamline your payments, your hiring, your sourcing, your vetting, and it's verticalized. So in Fiverr world, or Upwork world, perhaps you have all the profession and it's very generalized.
Yes.
In our case,
yeah, that's right.
We just focused on tech talent, and that's you build expertise over time just with this niche.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, previously we've talked to Alex Volodarsky, who runs. I'm sure you'd probably be aware of that business. It's a marketplace model that connects Ukrainian developers with the US-based developers. So it's a similar business. And he actually said the hardest part of the job was balancing the supply and the demand. So he said in that case, he was ensuring that he had enough developers to keep up with the companies that were applying. But he also wanted to make sure there were enough roles for his developers to fill to ensure that they weren't left there unemployed for a long time. And they weren't kind of loyal to his platform because they would just want to leave after that. Is that something that you also struggle to balance in your business? I know that there's possibly differences between, say, a marketplace, there's an agency, and there's, say, a company that would straight up employ those people and then pass on the cost later. And then maybe an agency would be more of a, we'll take a fee here for placing this person, and then, maybe we'll see them later. Whereas I think your marketplace, you were saying managed marketplace, so it seems more like something where you're sort of retaining the talent yourself, and then you can use them later for sort of other jobs that come up or other contracts that you want to fill. you already know that they've done a few good jobs with you, and so they can kind of do that. So yeah, how do you find balancing, say, supply and demand, or in other words, the clients and the devs?
In any marketplace, I mean, you start with supply. That's the rule. So you build the supply, and then you attract the demand. Otherwise, it doesn't work. In our case, we have a couple of models. So number one is the managed model, where we hire under the contract the developer for a full-time job, and it streamlines your hiring, your payroll, your payments. We have also an account manager for each developer, where we work on retention, work on let's say we call it developer happiness, making sure that they are good with the job, they like it, and we increase the retention. So that's one model. Majority of our placements are in this sort of type. The second one is when the company wants to hire the talent directly and then deal with the talent. So that's also a possibility to buy out the talent from the platform. That's like a recruiting model. The last one, this is more a project basis services, where we assemble a team and we take deliverables. More like outsourcing model, but not in an office. You have this remote team that you build around the project with project manager, architect, and then you deliver a project for the client with specific deadlines and deliverables. That's less, but still we do have some placements in that vertical. So I think around those three areas, we are just building a better offer and a sort of different offer for different customer needs.
That's super awesome. That's an incredible breakdown. Those three different categorizations of the services that you offer is pretty comprehensive. I was chatting to Isaac earlier and questioning, I wonder whether you would consider or have capacity to, let's say, for example, a startup, maybe they've had a previous exit, but both of the founders are non-technical, and they want to start a new project. They've got a cool concept, but they've got no one to undertake the technical elements of it. It sounds to me like you could assemble a team, as you said, and basically like insert technical founders, maybe not founders, but insert technical first staff members who can jump in and actually make that stuff work. Would that be correct?
Actually, I don't recommend founders to start a tech product if they're not technical. If one of the founders is not technical, I think you're building a tech product. If you don't have somebody on your tech sort of founding team, a technical person, it's just not going to work long term, in my opinion. I saw that happening with some founders, but I think those founders don't need Index. I think they just can manage themselves and hire a team and do it by themselves anyway. So I think you need to have a technical expertise. Or if they're not founders, they need to have equity. You're like your first engineer, lead engineer, you need to give them equity. So they have the buyout and they're committed. The ownership is there. And then we can help. Then we can assemble a team. We could scale that team or build a product around that team. But you have to have somebody technical. So if you don't, then I think you should find one, and then
that's a good clarification. So you like to work with a technical representative at the company, and then you can basically sort out the rest by the sounds of it. And that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So you've talked about sort of how you run a technical side of recruiting and how that works. Do you think this idea works just as well for other recruiting niches? For example, if you wanted to start a design outsourcing company or a video editing outsourcing company or an accountancy outsourcing company, do you think that would work for taking that international talent and sort of doing that? Or do you think this only works in sort of that tech talent where it is already a job that can be done so remotely?
Yeah, I think there are some models, some examples of companies doing that in sales talent, remote sales talent, design as well, of course. I mean, you could take Upwork or Fiverr and just split the sort of the category and just go with that let's say, I don't know, search engine optimization talent and just marketing and kind of that talent. I think you need something more, not just the talent. You need to have a specific, like, for example, in sales, you may have a community of sales or top performing salespeople that you test from their previous kind of quotas and experiences, and then you provide that. It should be added value to go verticalized rather than just general or horizontal as an Upwork model. So I think there are opportunities, and you'd see more and more this, verticalized platform in the future. They're already here, and there'll be more and more of those, I think. And you could argue you could build a billion-dollar business in any of those verticals.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's really cool because it's almost like we're bouncing a new business idea for anyone that wants to start that. Let us know. We'll take 10% of the equity and let you have
That's
that
awesome.
one.
Okay, interesting. So, okay, you talked about the 3 different categories, and in that, I assume this might differ, but what does the business model look like in regards to generating some revenue that makes this sort of sustainable long term for you guys?
So for us, pretty straightforward. In the managed services, we have the gross margins that we put on top of the developer salary. So typically, we ask the developer the salary, we record that, and then we add up our margin. In a buyout kind of hiring fee, it's a typical recruiting fee you'd pay an agency, depending on the level of developer, 15 to 25K, give it or take. And then you pay the fee and you'd hire the talent.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I think one thing that we've sort of seen, and we kind of touched on it earlier, is that that we're in this situation where there's higher interest rates and there's a huge impact on venture capital investing, where the cost of capital has risen so significantly that they're finding it harder and harder to raise money and fund new startups and fund really good ideas. And so a lot of founders that would connect, there'll be a lot of founders that you would sort of see across the US and the UK especially, and a few other places like that you're trying to connect this talent to. And they, some of them would probably have a bootstrapped business that's already profitable from the get-go, and some of them probably raise, and then they have this really good idea, but it's obviously not going to be profitable for the next 5 years. What do you advise founders to do when they consider, bootstrapping versus raising this outside invested capital? Should small businesses be pushing for this rapid growth in this current environment, or should they be sort of scaling it back a bit and just kind of taking it a little more easy without the rapid growth so that they can lengthen their runway?
Yeah,
I guess.
think if you could bootstrap. I think you just raise money. Raising money is like in my opinion, is the last kind of resort, or you just see such a big opportunity in front of you that now is the time to grab it, and there is no other time. If you miss this train, it's gone. So yeah, I'm kind of promoting this idea of bootstrapping, but if there is a big opportunity in front of you, then raise money to grab that opportunity and be the first to market. That's also a great strategy. So I think what we're doing in our case, so in this time we're investing in product. So I think that's number one. Number two is we're doing more with less. So ChatGPT is one of the things, but there are also the other automations you could use in your company. That will increase productivity. That's the way moving forward and out of this crisis. If we just become a little bit more productive, then we'll do more, and then we'll lower this inflation and this kind of animosity around economy and so on. And last, I think it depends which industry you're in, but I think first defense, costs and optimization, and then offense, just because you never waste a good crisis. The biggest money and the biggest market share is won in this time. fear and anxiety is not a good friend. Sometimes it helps, but if you're covered on defense and your market is there, you just have to be very strategic into acquiring clients and winning market share. Of course, extending your runway and making sure you're not going to be able to raise in the next 12 months or 24. I don't know what is this market of venture capital going to be, but I think it's wise just to stay lean, to stay profitable, find ways to hire developers remotely so you could extend your runway, or other employees, I don't know, sales or other roles, of course. And then, accelerate your market, go offense, accelerate your product development, and just build a dominant business out of this. When everyone is fearful, you're greedy. So that's the principle of Warren Buffett, I guess. Yeah.
Bit of Warren
That's right.
Buffett there.
You've got to take
You've
got to take the counter approach. That's good. Are you struggling to get your name out there? Do you want to attract more customers? Maybe just increase your revenue? Well, look no further than Newnique. They're an all-in-one marketing agency, and they'll help take your business to the next level. They believe in marketing that should be both effective and enjoyable, and I tend to agree. So they offer a range of services such as web design, branding, social media management, and lead generation. The team of experts, they'll work with you to develop a tailored marketing strategy that fits the unique needs of your business. And they don't just stop at making you look good, but they're specialized in setting up lead generating machines. Their top secret methods will help you capture and convert your leads, leading to increased sales and revenue for your unique business. So search NEW NIQ UE on Google to learn more and schedule a free marketing consultation via their website. So let Newnique take your business to the next level.
Index is a tech-focused recruitment platform passionate about scaling your engineering team, maintaining 95% placement success. To date, they've vetted over 8,000 developers, boasting on average more than 7 years experience across their recruits. Index supplies talent to industry-leading clients such as Omio, a German unicorn that's raised almost 500 million USD, PERFORCE, a US-based leading DevOps solutions provider with over 300 million USD in annual revenue, and many others, some of which are backed by firms such as Goldman Sachs and Y Combinator. So if you're struggling to find the right talent, concerned about high employee costs and staff turnover, Index has the solution for you. Through comprehensive assessments, in-depth interviews, and a robust vetting process, Index can provide your business with the very best international tech talent in less than 7 business days. For contracts greater than 6 months, Index is offering a 10% discount to HQLA fans the next time you hire using their platform.
As we sort of start to wrap up, I was interested in knowing whether, you said this has been operating for about 4 years now, I think. Has there been any, and I know, your world is very much pushing forward and macro of the company, I'm assuming. But are you aware of, or is there any interesting projects that that Index has been a part of or contributed towards that you'd be interested in highlighting that have sort of been a highlight of the journey for you in the last 4 years? Or if not, what are you looking forward to in the future for the company?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. Thank you for the question. I think one great project we partner with, so we help them hire, I think, a team of 10 already developers, is Entropy. So this is a US startup. What they're building is really amazing. They're certifying this authenticity of luxury products using this kind of approach, scientifically proven approach to identify counterfeits of product. So I think
like a Rolex or something.
Yeah,
for
or
example.
a bag, a Louis Vuitton bag. I don't know, whatever.
Or Louis Vuitton bag.
So I think that's great. I think that's an amazing, cool project that companies are using and provides value, protecting the supply chains and transaction in the retail or resale in that regards. Another startup, I mean, it's already a unicorn, Omio. This is like
yeah.
you know them. Yes, it's
Ground transportation.
exactly.
I think.
Yeah. It's a German online travel kind of comparison and booking website based in Berlin. So I think that we're doing it's really amazing in terms of providing those routes when you're looking for a train, for a bus, for a flight. It just creates like more convenience. It's cheaper for the customer to find the right ticket. Yeah, and they've been amazing in the last years. They grew quite substantially. So we helped as well hire engineers for them. And yeah, we have hundreds of clients. I think it's just great to see those products alive, to know that you're on mission on providing this amazing talent that builds these products that helps the world to become more efficient, to become better, to become just a positive outcome out of this technology that we use. So yeah, it's great to be part of that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's always good to hear that that you're actually kind of successfully making an impact with those clients, and it's really cool because they're like these clients that you've been able to work with because of something that you've been able to build yourself because of an idea that you had. So it's really cool that it's like you're seeing the full entrepreneurial journey there, and then they're providing value to for travel services. I'm gonna go for one more topical. So there was a article that came out earlier in the week. It's specifically about my company, so it's a little niche, but it said 49,000 employees forced back into the office. And so it was this huge thing about it. Do you think that and then you delve deeper, and it said 50% of the time was kind of the subtext, which I thought was quite funny. But it's a lot of I think it's a really headline grabbing sort of thing where everyone sees this huge scare headline, and then it's like, oh, actually we're going to do hybrid. But what do you think of the move from large corporations coming back into the office? Do you think this is going to lead more people towards sort of those more startups where they have maybe more flexibility, or they have more entrepreneurial ideas, and they can kind of do their own more independent work as opposed to working in a large corporation? And what do you think about work from home after COVID? Is it here to stay, or are we going to move more towards the hybrid?
Yeah. So what we see right now is like before COVID, remote was maybe 5% of the market, maybe less, give it or take. So in COVID, that flipped. So we went from 5 to 95%. Everyone was remotely. Yeah. And then
that's right.
After COVID, right now you would see like, I don't know, 50% of companies going back to office. And even those companies, a couple of days a week, maybe a couple of days a month, different variations. And then 50% of the companies will stay remotely. I mean, give it or take, maybe in the next couple of years, that number will go maybe towards more remotely, just because what I see, for example, in corporate world, like people are getting back their employees to office, and then those employees leave the company to go to work remotely. Those opportunities will be there for companies that are looking to hire not based on location, but based on talent. And then you can hire those great engineers or other types of professions. Of course, not all of them are for remote work. And then that will provide your startup just that competitive advantage, because talent is the ultimate competitive advantage. And yes, you could argue in office, you can have this communication, this productivity, maybe higher. But at the same time, if you cannot build a great company remotely, or you cannot sort of communicate and increase your productivity remotely, I don't think an office will help you. Or yes, it'll be a little bit better, but then if you cannot do it remotely, then why would you do it in office? Yes, maybe there is an argument like you need to get people in office to brainstorm, to kind of create something in this at the water cooler or whatever. Maybe that's true, but I also saw remote first companies doing really great and founders seeing themselves like after 2 years on without seeing in person. So I think you can have both. I don't think there is A or B. You can have both. It's just matter of preference. And I'm not. I don't know. I work remotely for 10 years, and I love it this way. I love the office work, but not more than a day a month. I don't know.
A day a month. Wow.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
If
All
you
right,
can't do
there
it
you go.
remotely, you can't do it at all. I think that's my takeaway from that.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It's just
Classic. Yeah.
it's just too much. Sometimes it's good to meet in person. It's good to have those trips to get everyone in person. But just going to office and commute, I don't know, energy and communication. It has its advantages, but also its disadvantages. Sometimes it's distraction for you when you're in that office.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, everything you like.
Absolutely.
I mean, every preference, flavor you can have, and I'm really excited that we had this remote work experiment for the good or for the bad. But it's a great opportunity for us as a humanity to test and to see what works, and I'm sure a lot of companies will benefit from it and will be growing out of this remote work and building great products, hiring great talent anywhere, and just be a better world out of it.
Totally agree.
Yeah. Well, Sergiu Matei, he's an international businessman. He's a multi-time founder, angel investor, entrepreneur, founder of Index. Thank you so much for coming on the show. What are your expectations for Index in the next 5 years? And how can people find you and Index if they want to see more?
Yeah, so we're looking to build a leading marketplace to hire remote software developers, tech talent. Yeah, our goal is to have 1,000 developers, QA, product managers hired through Index. So yeah, looking to build towards that and provide that high performing tech talent for companies around the world. That's our mission, and we'll be building this the next years to accomplish that.
Love it. And how do people find you and the company if they want to find out more?
Yes, thank you. Index.dev. That's or you can drop me an email, Matei, my family name, at Index.dev.
There you go. You're going to get overrun with emails from our fans now. Listen, as Isaac said, thanks again so much. I know you're busy. You're running a business and you are keeping the trains running in Berlin, and so thank you so much. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Ned, and thank you. It's nice meeting you.